What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what actually ended up coming out from the shareholder meeting, because Tesla does have a lot of potential for its long-term future. So I'm going to mainly focus on the things Elon Musk said and also the big announcements that were made for Tesla. I'm going to primarily focus on that and a little bit less on the share price in this video, but I want to talk about some massive things that came out. Now, for Tesla in particular, the stock has been doing quite well. If you see the way this thing was trading, it did push up above the key resistance level, but the question is it going to keep on pushing up, especially after the stock split was approved? So it's very possible this thing does have more room for upside because of that. But I want to give you guys a more detailed analysis of other big announcements that were made, especially from Elon Musk. Now, before I break anything down though, before I get into any more details, I have to mention a couple of things before starting. Real quick, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And you could always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. This is a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 12 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, this thing was up about 0.4% for the day. It did move the way I thought it would, breaking out of this, but it ended up dropping a little bit lower than I expected. And we did actually close above that $920 level of resistance. So that's actually a good sign that this thing made in anticipation of the reports. But the market was kind of choppy today to some degree, and that's what ended up kind of like affecting Tesla. Now, I want to focus a little bit less on the share price, because as of right now, as far as the share price goes, the key support and resistance levels are essentially the same. Let me actually draw one right here. I forgot to mention this. We also have some resistance around 940, but it doesn't look like we're going to just start rallying all the way up to 1,000 immediately. We are going to have a lot of resistance on the way there, but I want to talk about the key zones a little bit later and talk a little bit more about some big announcements that were made. So the first thing, I'm going to actually summarize this, so I apologize if I miss a couple of things. I'm going to do this in a very detailed way, but I'm going to actually make a follow-up video for tomorrow because we may have other big announcements too. But anyways, Elon Musk talks about how when it comes to the Earth, he mentioned in his opinion, powering the Earth requires just a little bit of land compared to how massive the Earth actually is. And for that reason, Tesla is going to prioritize working on the energy sector as well. So by doing this, it not only gives them a bigger marketplace, but it actually allows them to improve their business model, their fundamentals, and their revenue from that standpoint. Now, another thing that was mentioned is the fact that Tesla is also going to be working very hard for their goal, and that is to sell 20 million EVs per year by 2030. That's going to be very ambitious. We're already ready for about over a million per year. But the question is, could we get to 20 million? That's going to actually require lots of hard work, lots of new gigafactories. So I do expect that to happen over the next couple of years. But also, this is going to require lots and lots and lots of hard work. In my honest opinion, I think it would be pretty difficult for Tesla to actually reach this goal, but they are aiming for the stars. And I really believe that if they keep on pushing forward, it is possible for them to really reach that. So Tesla is very ambitious, and it's one of the main reasons as to why I'm very, very bullish for the company. Now, another thing that was actually mentioned is the fact that Tesla was working to actually start their 4680 battery cell production at the Giga Texas. But unfortunately, Musk did mention that they may not be able to do it during this quarter, and it may be a little bit delayed due to some of the supply chain constraints that they were facing. And Musk actually went about how it was actually big for the entire year. But as time goes on, they are slowly going to be improving with this issue. Now, another thing that was mentioned that's very important is the fact that we are seeing a lot of new recommendations and new directors kind of coming forward for Tesla too. And that's also another very good thing in my opinion, because we're seeing a lot of renewals and we're not seeing a whole lot of opposition over some of the big things that were being made. So additionally, Elon Musk also mentioned the fact that he's very enthusiastic. He was very excited about all of the voting that he was seeing. He also owns about 15.6% of the company, and also investors did approve the 3-for-1 stock split, and that's going to be very big as well. I don't have a specific date for this, right? I don't know the exact date and time this is going to happen, but I do know As of right now, it's approved, and within the next couple of days, or maybe a week or two from now, we should find out the exact date and time it's going to be unveiled. So once again, we're seeing big ambitions for their big changes, and also we have to note that Tesla is working very hard to improve their capacities in every single one of their productions for the gigafactories. So specifically, the one in Shanghai is actually doing very, very well. We're going to see massive ramps there, and Fremont in particular is actually set to see a 50% increase relatively soon. And particularly Texas and Berlin are also seeing improvements, but they're not as fast as the other ones because they still have to set up a lot of things as well. Additionally, what I'm essentially seeing here is Musk told Tesla that they might be able to announce an additional factory this year, and we're eventually going to have about 10 to 12 of these gigafactories. So that's going to be very big for the company. I'm quite excited for that, but there are other things I want to talk about. Now, Musk also talked about the full self-driving technology as a big update is coming relatively soon, but that's not the biggest thing. The main thing is the production phase for them because Tesla is going to be designing them themselves, especially for the computer chips. So that's going to be very lucrative for them, as Elon Musk mentioned. And as they continue with this, I do see big installments coming very, very soon. Additionally, we have this right here. Elon Musk mentioned that EV batteries are going to be recycled because a lot of commodities like iron and lithium are very hard for them to actually obtain. So Musk mentioned that there could be a lot more improvements made to the process that they have at recycling their EV battery packs. And he does believe that's going to be very big for the future too. And it is something that Tesla is going to be working on, especially as they are working very hard to achieve even more of these EVs going forward. Now, another thing that's very important is Musk did kind of mention that it's very important for Tesla to have these stalled megapacks. And it's not just the megapacks themselves, but the ability to store energy and reuse that energy, or I'm sorry, utilize that energy for different sectors. This means that Musk is still ambitious with the ideas of having big trucks to be used that are electric for the future, and also airplanes and speedboats and so on and so forth. So that's one of the main things Elon Musk was mentioning. He didn't really go into too much detail about this, but he did highlight this, and this could be very huge for the future too. Now, Musk also mentioned this. I didn't really hear this part. I'm not sure if he actually mentioned this, but there are reports coming out saying that Musk has teased about a new Tesla factory in Canada. So this isn't really confirmed, but this could be something very huge for the future. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see something like this happen. Now, when it comes to where they're specifically going to do this, I think Elon Musk said something like, I'm half Canadian, so maybe we should, because he did actually immigrate there for a part of his life. So it's very funny. I mean, it was just a joke he was making, I guess. I didn't really see this as a really serious remark in terms of like data and what he actually meant. It was just a joke. But hey, you never know. Jokes are not always jokes. There could be massive truth behind them. So maybe Tesla's working on this. We just don't have this confirmed just yet. But the big thing is they are working on new factories nonetheless. They are working on expanding every single year. So I do expect a new gigafactory to be announced relatively soon, maybe this year, but for sure sometime next year. And we do see new means of production coming out. Now, like I mentioned before, they want to utilize energy storage a lot more efficiently, and this is going to help them with new products. So Elon Musk also mentioned that announcing new products for the company, it's going to be very big, and it's not necessarily going to slow down their production despite what many people were suspecting. So he answered questions in a very blunt way, and he told them, look, Tesla could come up with new products. They could come up with cyborgs. It's not necessarily going to stop them from producing or even meeting their delivery goals. That's a very bold thing that he stated, so I'm very proud of him for that. And it also allows them to utilize different sectors like energy storage in a way that allows them to develop even more products. So this is how Tesla could actually help develop a new plane, a new speedboat that are all electric. Once again, these are just kind of like ideas right now. They're not 100% confirmed. It's just something I wanted to mention. Now, Elon Musk also mentioned that there's going to be a lot of expansions to the Fremont factory in California, and he is expecting there to be a big increase in their capacity. So that's also going to be big for them going forward, especially when meeting their goals of about, tens of millions of these EVs produced per year. I really believe they will achieve that. I'm still very bullish, but in order to achieve that, they need more capacities and more of these gigafactories, which is what they're working on right now. Musk also mentioned the fact that Tesla is going to work on making their cars a lot more affordable. So that's also awesome too. He basically wanted to talk about how with inflation and many supply chain constraints, this may not seem that evident right now, but for the future in the upcoming years, he does believe that there are going to be a lot more affordable models for Tesla. So it's a very great thing that he said, and it is something that they're working on right now. Now, another thing that's very big is this right here. Tesla actually has new features to be coming out for every single one of their products. And with that said, they're kind of integrated in a bunch of different cars. So Musk also mentioned that when it comes to developing the product itself, the chips could also become like a product. And these chips are not just going to improve the cars when it comes to full self-driving technology, but he mentioned that full self-driving technology is going to be very lucrative, and he believes that Tesla could actually, I believe, license their own autonomous technology. So that's going to be very huge too. And we didn't go into a whole ton of details about that. He just mentioned that, but he mentioned that it's going to be a lifesaver, right? This is something Tesla's working on, right? A multi-trillion dollar market that's going to help prevent injuries. It's going to help save lives in the future. So very, very commendable. I'm proud of Tesla for that. It is something else that Elon Musk mentioned. Now, another thing that's very big that I think I already talked about this, but we're going to see a lot more factories coming out. The second half of this year should be a lot better for them as long as these constraints don't kind of continue the way they were. But Musk did kind of imply that supply chain constraints are not entirely done with just yet. They did affect Tesla going forward. So the recovery from it is still taking a little bit of time, but they are expected to see big ramp ups, especially in Fremont and Shanghai as well. And they should recover very strongly towards the end of this year and meet their goals still. So even the lockdowns that happened, I mean, as of right now, as long as we don't have more of these lockdowns, Tesla should achieve those goals. I believe in them. But like I said, sometimes external things can affect them, as Musk implied when it came to supply chain constraints and other things like that. Now, when it comes to the stock split, I think this is going to be a very nice move that they're making because once again, it makes the shares a lot more affordable. It could also make options seem a lot more affordable too. They will become a lot more affordable. And I don't have a specific date as of right now. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, after a few hours, they could actually come out with it. But as of right now, I don't know. I will inform you guys once I find out. But once again, that's a good move that they're making. The shareholders approved the stock split. So it's going to be a 3-for-1 stock split. So with all these big announcements, there wasn't anything that was just completely out of the ordinary. We did expect them to kind of approve the stock split. But other than that, I would be a little bit more bullish than bearish for tomorrow. Once again, the market can surprise you. But just to remember, it's very important to remember the key support and resistance levels. So if Tesla were to drop down, we have some support around that 920 range. There's no guarantee that's going to hold because support is not that strong. Tesla did drop below that at one point. And if we drop below 920, there's a risk of us actually coming all the way down into the low 900s, right? Into like 903, 900 flat. And you could see what happened not that long ago. You could see Tesla was pushing to about 920 and broke above it for some time, got rejected and came down. So be on the lookout for that. Anyways, if we can't hold 900, this thing is going to come to the 880s. If we can't hold 920, then we're most likely going to touch 900. And as of right now, we are trying to kind of bounce between that 930 to 920 level. We are currently at around 927 a share if you account for the after hours. So if Tesla does try to push up, we have resistance at around the 930 range there, and also around 940. 940 flat is going to be resistance. If we break that, I could see this thing going to that 952 range, right? And I mentioned that in a previous video. We can't hold that. I mean, if we do break past that, the 970 is where this thing is most likely going to go. And if we could push that high, it would be a very, very nice move. So I'd like to see how this moves. I mean, I personally think that the approval of a stock split is positive news, but the market is sometimes just very strange. It doesn't always do what you expect, like out of nowhere because of manipulation and other factors like that. So just be on the lookout for these levels. If I could give you guys a prediction, since most of you are requesting that, this is what I would say. Let me just make my chart look a little bit better. Let me close the after hours, actually. I think that's kind of getting in the way. Just real quick. So this is what Tesla's share price would look like if you don't look at the after hours. Tomorrow is going to be Friday. So Fridays are generally, or typically, they're not the strongest days, but historically over the last like week or two, they've been pretty decent days. So if we do get enough volume into open, we could get a nice move because Tesla tends to make nice moves as we open up. What could happen is we push up again. Hopefully we go as high as 940. I'm not sure if we're going to break that. So be on the lookout specifically for those levels. We could get a rejection off 940, trade a little bit sideways. And I wouldn't be surprised if we actually start to come down just a bit. This thing could actually start to come down to maybe like the 920 or so range. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing actually gets a nice bounce and it continues to push up from there. And we actually managed to close around $930 a share, so somewhere like that. So that's essentially how I'm seeing this thing act. I don't expect it to be extremely bullish. I think it could actually hold up pretty well with the nice news that came out. But if I end up being wrong, because it's very hard to predict how a stock would respond to something that's very rare, like a stock split, generally this thing should be very bullish and maybe push up a little bit more. But we've already been super bullish over the last few weeks, so sometimes it needs some time to cool off. So until the exact date is announced, I still think this thing can kind of channel a bit. And always remember the key support zones in case these support zones don't hold. So remember, if 920 doesn't like hold us too well, this thing can actually come all the way down to the low 900s. Once again, I'm not guaranteeing that. It just is a possibility. And if 900 doesn't hold, 880s in the realm of possibility. Well, anyways, I provide a lot of information for you guys. I apologize if this even gave you a headache. I tried to make this very quick, short, sweet, and simple. This is basically a quick summary of the main things that happened during the meeting. It just barely ended, so maybe there could be big announcements coming out later. I am going to talk about those in another video for tomorrow, but until then, remain calm, cool, and collected. Never give up on your dreams, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.